Hello guys, happy Friday. How's everyone doing? Welcome in. Thank you all so much for coming over from Eric and Jason and Bill. They definitely had a great live stream tonight. I'm really excited. I was sick last week, so missed you guys. It's been rough getting back. I had no voice, couldn't taste anything. I didn't drink for like 2 weeks, so you know it's good to be back. Got a little something in the glass tonight. So how's everyone doing? That is a lot of Buffalo Trace. You're right, Vito. They are all going to be a little bit different, I think, though. We'll see. So let's see who's here. Brian, DH Silv, how you doing? Captain Make It Happen, welcome. Vito, of course. Dan the Man Trout, how are you? Jason, you and Eric, great live stream. Great live stream. I think Bourbon Month's going to be great. Bill, welcome in. I'm glad you made an appearance tonight. It was good seeing you. Still got your live stream in after all this week. Eric, welcome from California. Great stream, Eric. I am really looking forward to Bourbon Month. It's gonna be awesome. For those of you who didn't hear Eric, I am gonna be on with him next week. Next week, Friday, we're gonna be at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's gonna be a great time. We're gonna be I don't know if he's told what we're gonna be doing yet, so I won't say anything. Eric, I don't know if it's a secret or not. So, but I do have a couple new updates with the channel before I move on to anything else. So. Tom from Gifts on Glass just finished some glassware for me, and I am really pumped about these. I think that turned out great. So he actually designed my logo as well, and then he also made the glasses. So I got some Glencairns, and I also got some Rocks glasses with the logo as well. So those are going to be really, really cool. I got 6 of each, so they're pricey, but to have something with your logo and your name on it, I think that's really cool. So, thanks, Vito. Yeah, I think they turned out great. Christine, how you doing? Mike, good to see you. Jason Coates, Rob Davey, thank you so much for being here. Bill, thank you so much. Yeah, I really like the logo too. I kind of rushed out with the first one when I had it done, and this one, I think it just blows it out of the water. So, I'm really excited about it. DH Silv, you know you subbed to a wine YouTuber and he never posted anything about wine. Yeah, he's kind of converted over a little bit. All right, so it is Buffalo Trace flight night tonight. I'm really excited, guys. I have 5 different store picks. Now these are all local to me. When I first got into bourbon, we had very, very few store picks of anything. And then randomly, like 6 months ago, everywhere got flooded with store picks. I mean, all my local stores had like 4 store picks, different types each. So I was able to get a whole bunch, and I'm really excited. So the only one I have actually had, here, let me pull up this picture for you guys first to show what we're going to be doing. So these are the 5 picks here, 5 different locations. So Smitty's Specialty Beverage is our first one. These are all pretty much around Grand Rapids area, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Smitty Specialty Beverage, I have had this one. This is the only of the 5 that I've actually had, though. So the other 4 are going to be completely blind to me. So Rishi's International Beverage, Martha's Vineyard, Riverside Liquors, and the last one is Party World. So I've heard, I talked to each owner a little bit about all of these, and of course they all say it's really good. So we'll see. I think. Personally, I feel like Buffalo Trace is more of a pick that doesn't vary as much as some other brands. I mean, things like Russell's pick, I didn't think they varied that much either until a couple weeks back. Jason and Dan Trout, we did that blind Russell's. Russell's was one of the things Dan sent us, and it was completely different Russell's to Russell. So I'd only had maybe 4 or 5 different Russells, and they were never that substantially different to the one that Dan had sent us, and that was just an eye-opener to me. So, but the Buffalo Trace picks I have had in the past, I feel like they're not quite as different as what that was, not as remarkably different at least. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm really excited about it. Jason's still sipping on the Booker's. Excellent choice. I had that before during the live stream with you guys, so I made sure to just keep it to 1 glass. That stuff can really catch up on you quick. So, I Whiskey She Wines. Russell's pick last weekend. It was awesome. Yeah. Were you able to go with actually Eddie to do the pick? Does he do all the picks or not? I hear he's very, very generous on his picks. I'd love to be a part of Russell's picks someday. If you guys haven't seen iWhiskey, check out iWhiskey She Wines. Him and his wife do a channel together. They're doing some pretty funny stuff. She's trying whiskeys and for the first time, and it's pretty funny stuff. If you guys haven't seen that, go check that out. Bill's still sipping Booker's too. Michael Hassett's got the 101. Another great choice. I love 101. All right. Let me get some water here. ADHD Fishing, you just had that Russell sample. It's definitely different. It's nothing like the Russells that I personally had, at least myself in the past. So I think it's incredible. Yes, Eddie and his son Bruce did our pick. Eddie's down to earth, great experience. Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I'd love to be part of that sometime. So, all right, let's go on to our first pick here. So I'm gonna start with Smitty's Specialty Beverage. Now this is the one I've had before. So I'll start with that one, and we'll just work our way right down the line, guys. I am going to be giving away 2 samples tonight as well. So of course I'll let you guys pick any of the Buffalo Trace bottles I'm going to be talking about tonight. So make sure you keep track of the notes I'm going over, what sounds good to you guys, and we'll go from there. All right, I haven't had a pour out of this in at least a couple weeks, I would say. And if you can see the bottle here, it's not drank that far down. I'll show you each of these stickers too. I know that's always fun to do, to look at. But yeah, it's not drank that far down. So we'll see if the flavors really changed from the last time I had it. DH Silva, if you're doing samples, I want the Taylor. Okay. Play your cards right, we'll see. Yeah, okay, so classic Buffalo Trace nose. It's always, to me, it's always a combination of wood, caramel, vanilla. Doesn't burn at all. It's always very smooth and creamy on the nose to me. There is a nice citrus note in this, actually. William, welcome in. Moose 76, Christine Deems. Thanks for being here, guys. I'd say this is almost like a green apple, almost like the peel of a green apple on this, guys. And speaking of Taylor, I always get that note on the E.H. Taylor. I've only had the small batches actually of the E.H. Taylor, but that's always a common note I get in the E.H. Taylor. Eric, it's going to be quite a night for you if you're finishing that Booker's up and then you're switching to Bullet Cast Strength. It's going to be a night. Joe Green, welcome in. Thanks for coming. Still get that fruit. Definitely fruit on the palate on this. I'd say it's still that same green apple note. The wood note I'm getting in the nose isn't coming through as much on the palate. On average, guys, Buffalo Trace is about 8 years old, typically. And the picks obviously would range a little bit from that. And I don't know the specifics on each of these individual bottles. I don't know if they didn't tell the store owners that, but on average, it's about 8 years. Joe, thank you. I love that new logo, too. Tom does great work. Suze, welcome in. Yeah, this is very fruity on the nose. Citrus notes, I mean, green apple, pear, light fruit. Not to the light fruit extreme of the E.H. Taylor small batch, but it's definitely there. Yeah, that's good. I just think Buffalo Trace is such a solid budget bourbon. I mean, it's just so easy to drink. The price for me is about $25 for a fifth. I mean, that's a great deal. So, yeah, Everything about it's great. Joe Green says all the single barrels he've had have been super solid. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was saying I don't know about the Buffalo Traces. We'll see if they're going to be substantially different. I'm not really sure, so we'll find out. But let's move on to our second one here. Now, the second one is from Rishi's International Beverage. And actually, cool story about this. He actually, I reached out to him when I was at the store talking to him, and he invited me to help pick a barrel for him. I mean, he said, do you want to pick a barrel for us? So, I mean, that would be really cool. They're going to get the samples sent to them, I'm sure. But I was like, yeah, anytime. Let me know. I'll come to the store and do that for sure. So I'm really excited to do that. He said he's got some good plans for picks. He's had a Weller 107 pick in the past. Elijah Craig, Buffalo Trace, obviously. He just did a 1792 full proof too. So yeah, I think whatever he's going to do, I'm really looking forward to doing that. So, all right. I better keep number one by me too, so I can do side by side here. Yeah, this, I would say, sample number 2 from Rishi's. I think this has a more rich, deep nose. Like you get more out of your barrel-proof bourbons. The caramel and vanilla note is much stronger. I'd say the wood note is actually stronger on this as well. Yeah. Not as much of the light fruit that I was talking about with sample number 1 though. A little bit of fruitiness, but definitely not to the extent of number 2 or number 1. All right, let's give this one a sip. Yeah, I think this is pour number 2 here from Rishi's is much creamier. Coats the mouth a lot more than number 1. And you know, like I said, the first bottle I did have open, so that could affect it too. You know, I'm beyond the shoulder a little bit on this, whereas all the rest of these are fresh cork pops, so that can definitely make a difference. A lot of times when I first open, in general, I guess it's different bottle to bottle, but when I open a new bottle, I seem to get a lot of sweetness up, you know, in the very top of the bottle. If I let it open up for a couple weeks, it seems to kind of mellow out, and depending on the bourbon, it can get better or worse, but Bourbinsane, yeah, I like it. Yeah. I mean, these are like 25 bucks each, guys. I mean, you can't beat that. You might as well get it and try them all, you know? Yeah, I'd say it's a lot more coating. A lot more coating, nice mouthfeel. They still both have about that medium finish. But I mean, Buffalo Trace's flavor profile is just so solid. I mean, everything about it's just what you would want in a bourbon. Again, the wood notes are not coming through as much on the taste as in the nose, which I mentioned with number 1 as well. But again, not as much fruit either. Yeah. Very nice mouthfeel on that. Mellowed out on the fruity sweetness, but I'd say more of the richer caramel vanilla notes come through. Eric Waite, been to 6 different distilleries in Kentucky, not to Buffalo Trace. Yes, I actually have been to Buffalo Trace. So I've only been to Kentucky one time, about 7-ish months ago now. It was a great trip. We went like a guy's weekend for 3-4 days, and it was awesome. I mean, the first day we just stayed all downtown Louisville. We went to Evan Williams, Old Forester, which Old Forester's incredible. That's the best on Whiskey Row. I've not been to Michter's. It wasn't open yet when we went, but Old Forester's great. If you guys go, definitely go to Old Forester. Of course, all the bars, which, you know, they call the Urban Bourbon Trail. You know, we tried to hit as many of those as we could. Just try to get one drink at each. It's tough for one day. It's tough doing it all in one day, but Jim Beam has the Urban Still House there too. That's really cool. So there's a lot to do right downtown Louisville. It's a great time. And then day 2, we went to Buffalo Trace, Woodford Reserve, and Jefferson's Ocean. All very different. Buffalo Trace was gorgeous. Everyone talks about the Hard Hat Tour, and I've heard that's awesome. It was all booked up, of course, when I tried to get in and go to it. But even the standard tour was really cool. I mean, saw Freddie Johnson he wasn't our tour guide there, but he was giving tours, you know, right next to us to the next group. And the tour guide we had too was incredible. I mean, he was awesome. So Woodford Reserve was gorgeous. The grounds were beautiful. It's just the tour was very lacking. I mean, everything was so loud in the distillery, at least the one we went to. And the tour guide was very, very bland. So if you like the scenery and that gorgeous scenery and layout, Woodford is awesome. But yeah, as far as the tour goes, it was kind of lacking. Yeah, and Brian, I did go to Angel's Envy as well. Angel's Envy was kind of pricey. The gift shop didn't have anything good, and we only got one sample at the end. That was the normal Angel's Envy, which, if you guys have watched a couple of my live streams before, I'm not a big Angel's Envy guy. Full disclosure, I've only had the standard Angel's Envy. I haven't had the rum finish, but a lot of people don't like that either, the rye. So for me though, it was just way overly smooth. Ryan, welcome in. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Yeah, Angel's Envy was just so overly smooth. That port finish was just way too much influence for me. The proof point, the price, and I think being a finished whiskey like that, just it wasn't for me. I do have plans with my wife, so I've been talking to my wife, wanting to get her on the channel a little bit, just to do a couple small videos, and I really want to do something where I come up with some kind of bourbons, and I've asked this question in other chats before. I actually asked in another round that Jason was a part of last week with Bourbon Blind. What is a good whiskey, bourbon specifically, I guess, because they're usually sweeter, to have my wife try to convert her over to the whiskey side. And yeah, I Whiskey She Wines, we kind of talked about this a little bit in chat, I think it was. I personally, one of them I was going to buy anyway was Angel's Envy, just because of how sweet it was. I mean, she's a big chocolate fan, so that chocolate note, I feel like, I mean, that's what I got when I tried the Angel's Envy, at least, was a big chocolatey sweetness, just very, very smooth. So yeah, Jason, exactly. Angel's Envy is way too sweet. It's just it's too sweet, that port. But for her, not being a whiskey girl, maybe that would be cool to have her try. So yeah, I'd be curious to see what you guys think too. I've heard Four Roses. I mean, Four Roses always has that floral sweetness to me. So yeah, that would be a good option, I think, too. The small batch is really good, and the proof point's low enough that I don't think it would hurt her too much. I've heard that one too, DH Silv. Watered down Woodford double oaked. Yeah, I mean, even the double oak by itself is just pure chocolate. I had a sample of that at Woodford when we were there. It was really good. Again, that's a pricey bottle near me too, though, and it was sweet, but it wasn't overly complex or something I'd kind of want to seek out. I guess it's available near me, but that would be a good option to pick up as well. That's a good one. Benchmark 8, Brian Walsh says. Yeah, I don't know about that. It's a fine line, I guess, between something that's low enough proof where it doesn't turn into just pure crap. Cast strength. Yeah, cast strength. All right, let me go into sample number 3. I got off on a tangent there. I'll talk about Jefferson's when I'm trying this third one. So this third sample here is from Martha's Vineyard. Now, Martha's Vineyard is a really cool liquor store and kind of a downtowny shop in Grand Rapids that's pretty famous around here. And this is the first time they've done a pick that I know of, but a lot of it was still on the shelf when I went, and I wasn't there early on in when they got the pick. So kind of interesting. I'm not sure if they're just not really known for their liquor or what it is. I know they have a great beer selection, but yeah. Woo! Okay, this is different. This is different than the first two. Someone said gas strength. That's right. Welcome in. I don't know if that's veto or not, but welcome in. This is like this reminds me of the wild turkey nose, where I get that kind of a sour note and almost a candied sweetness, like a Smarties sweetness. Hmm. Yeah, this is much more candied than the first two. Just guess, if I was to guess age on this, I would say it's definitely less than 8 years. I mean, it seems like it's 4 to 6. Dan, I'm sorry. This is like the second or third time I've had this issue with the stream. That's my fault. I tried to post a link in there, but by then the stream was gone. So something's wrong with my settings where it's not letting me start up the stream I have an event for. So I don't know. I'll get it figured out. I apologize though, Dan. Thanks for coming now. Yeah, this is just candied sweetness. It's literally like a sweet tart or Smarties candy in a glass. Mm. Which, I mean, again, with that, like the wild turkey, a little bit of that wild turkey profile is how I described that, and it smells good. Mm. Yeah, it's definitely sweet. The nose definitely matches the palate. It's just candy in the mouth. Um, it's a short finish though. The finish was really lacking on that sip. Let me try another sip here. Yeah. So it's very, very sweet on the front of the tongue. Immediately you take the sip and it's just super sweetness. But then once it hits the back of your tongue, it kind of just dissipates. Um, it actually is drying out a little bit. I mean, if I was actually guessing on this, I'd say it was like a higher rye mash bill compared to the first two, just based on that. But I'm not picking up the standard rye notes I get with, rye whiskey or high rye mash bills typically. Yeah, super sweet up front, drying on the back, but no real peppery note. Thin finish, not too much of the cinnamon note I get with rye either. Maybe a little bit of orange, like a little bit of orange peel in this though. Hmm. I love to see you guys in chat talking about samples and trading samples. That's what it's all about, guys. Sharing whiskey with each other. Obviously, Jason's great about that. Dan's great about that. This whiskey community is awesome, guys. Yeah, Dan, orange peel. It is interesting. A lot of times in rye whiskey, I'll get, or higher rye, I'll get an orange note. Because orange peel has that little bit of bitterness in it. Sometimes that can be like a barrel bitterness. Sometimes it can be from like the rye spice. Yeah, I'd say if whoever gets a sample tonight, if you're more of a rye fan, I think 3 is a good option for you. It definitely leans more towards the rye profile than a typical Buffalo Trace product. So it's good though. When we were in Kentucky, we did go to Jefferson's too. Jefferson's was a very unique tour, different than the other two. Their facility is different. It's more of like a warehouse facility, whereas, I mean, obviously Buffalo Trace and Woodford, they have the rick houses, which is kind of a warehouse-esque, but Jefferson's was very warehousey. I mean, everything was done in a like literal warehouse, but it was really cool. They actually took you into a like experimental room where they showed you the science behind it a little bit. I guess like how they do testing to see which flavor profiles will work, you know, and whatnot. So kind of the chemistry behind it. And that was really interesting to me. I come from a chemistry science background, so to me that whole thing interests me. How to distill, how to do all that. No, I don't make moonshine in my basement. But it would be interesting to do. I definitely would. So yeah, I really like that about Jefferson's. They actually had a couple like totes of bottles that they hadn't released yet. So one was like a tobacco barrel finished bourbon, which really interested me. I mean, I love the subtle tobacco notes I always pick up in bourbon, and that was like an actual tobacco barrel finished, I feel. I mean, it could be overly powering with that, but we didn't get to try it, unfortunately, but that was really cool. And then they had the, I forget what they call it. The one that Jefferson's did where they put little crevices or grooves in their barrel staves to try to get it to interact with the wood more. I forget what they called that when they did it. Someone in the chat might know, but that was there too. So it was cool to see what was coming out already that hadn't hit the shelves yet. And I was like, oh, when's that coming out? You know, can I buy a bottle? But no, wasn't out yet. So Brandon asks, does the second sample sweetness taste similar to a wheated bourbon? Second sample. Let me go back to it. Because that was not as strong on the fruit notes. Wheated, you say? I mean, not really. With wheated, I usually can get at that bready note. Like a baked bread note. A lot of cinnamon I get a lot of times in wheated bourbons as well. I'm not really getting that in this. Larceny, to me, at least, I've had like 3 different bottles of Larceny. 2 of them I loved, and one of them I couldn't stand. I don't know what it was. Dan, I think one of them was the Jefferson's Wood Experiment. I can't remember what the name specifically was, though. But yeah, the Larceny's always kind of like a baked wheat bread to me. I get in that. Heavy, usually. Weller, like the 107, it's kicked up. It's kicked up in proof. So that I get a lot of cinnamon notes on usually. And I love that flavor of the Weller 107. That stuff's good. I'm sad to see the price went up. Not that I can find a bottle anyway locally, but yeah, the price got up. Hey Bill, thanks for stopping in. Great stream tonight, guys. I appreciate you stopping in. All right, let's move on to sample number 4 here. Whiskey Explorer, you're the second or third person to tell me that. I'm sorry. Something happened where it won't let me start up that stream, so I had to switch over to a new one, and it wouldn't let me post the link to the new one in the old stream. So I thought the old stream had disappeared. I apologize. Anyone who has been sitting there waiting, reach out to me. I'm going to send a sample to you because that should be happening. It'll be figured out. I'm sorry, guys. It'll all be on the replay. Don't worry. I'd say this has a nose very similar to sample number 2. Yeah, these two are really similar. DHL, I agree. I don't think at that price it's going to be worth it. It's $50 is too much. Larceny, you can get 2 of them for that price. And Larceny, most bottles are good. So, yeah, I mean, the 107 is great, but at $50, people are still going to buy it, though. It's not going to become more available, that's for sure. Eric, I'll reach out to you right after the stream, because this is like the second time this has happened, and I thought it was fixed last time, so I don't know. Thank you. I whiskey she wides. I was waiting at empty stream on 3 different accounts. Hey, all right. Screenshot or it didn't happen. Yeah, I got you, Eric. I got you. This is a nice nose too, though. 2 and 4 are very similar on the nose, but this is a nice nose. Jason, I know you talked to me about that in the past about a pick you're doing or did on the 114, but any idea what the price is going to be on that? 35 for Weller Special Reserve. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad, but I wouldn't go above 35 on that. If you've never had it, yes, definitely get a bottle and see if you like that flavor profile. Miguel, I'm sorry. Same thing. Reach out to me after the stream. I'll hook you up with a sample, okay? I have no idea what the issue is. Eric's gonna help me out though. All right, let's give it a sip, guys. Very similar flavor as well to number 2. Rishi's, and then the 4th one is Riverside Liquors. Very similar flavor. Yeah. I think sample number 4 probably has a little bit more richness. Dan, looks like you're a fan of the 12-year. It's good, but at retail it's good. No, not secondary though. No way. I'll take the 107 over Weller 12-year all day, even for the price of the like 107. I mean, even if it goes up to $50, you can get what, 5 bottles of 107 for the price of, I mean, for the price of a 12-year. It's ridiculous, of a handle at least. I'm with you, Jason. The 107 over the 12. I mean, don't get me wrong. The 12 is good, but it needs to be higher proof. It's too low a proof. Dan, you were waiting in the other chat. I'm gonna send you a sample of the 107. Don't worry. It's good. Yeah. It's good, guys. This is just very similar flavor to number 2. Number 3 was a complete different flavor profile. I mean, that rye notes, if you will. But this is very similar. Whiskey Explorer, you mentioned that before. Whiskey Exchange website. That's a great idea. That'd be awesome. Trading samples. I mean, obviously it's nothing monetized, so. Yeah. Solid stuff though, guys. I mean, Buffalo Trace is just solid. I'm not picking up, with the exception of number 3, I'm not getting a massive difference between the picks. I mean, there are subtle differences. One's a little more sweet, a little more candied note here or there, more barrel influence on certain ones, but nothing extreme. Not that I've run across yet, at least. Yeah, Eric, that's the problem. It cannot be an actual website. We would never do such things anyway. We would never do such things. Only if we're in person together. DH Silv used to beer trade. Yeah, beer, man, the market for beer is ridiculous. Oh. Dan, off topic, but do I have the Elijah Craig barrel proof at A119? I do not, and that is actually not one I've had yet. I had all of 2018 and 2017. C batches all the way. I'll wait for C batch for 2019. No, I'll pick up the A and B as well, just to see how they compare. You never know, but years past, C batches have just taken the cake both years, I think. I still actually have a bottle of the C917. It's my last one though, so I haven't opened it yet. Yep, Jason. No spirit ship without a license. That's right. You'd have to have a license to do it. So own a liquor store and then have it be legal in the state where it's coming from. So, yep. Nothing wrong with sharing in person though. Nothing wrong with that, guys. Yeah. Buffalo Trace, just good all around. So I assume all of you here have had Buffalo Trace. Vito, yes. So Vito from Cast Strength Reviews, we have a couple crossovers coming up. So next week, Wednesday, Vito and I are going to be over on his channel, Cast Strength. If you're not already following him, go subscribe right now. And we are going to be drinking Knob Creek Single Barrel Reserve. So he is getting a bottle of Knob Creek Single Barrel Reserve. I have a couple different store picks here. I assume he's going to be just getting the standard shelf. So I think I have a 9-year roughly pick here and a 14. So if he gets the standard one, I'm definitely just going to use the 9-year I have. But that's going to be great. Next week Wednesday, time I can't remember, 10 p.m. I think. Vito, correct me if I'm wrong. But that's going to be awesome. And then down the road, I'm going to have him on the channel here, and we are going to be doing a Scotch crossover. So he recommended a couple different Scotches. If you guys know, I'm very new to Scotch. I've tried a couple different, but nothing too extreme. So I think what I'm going to pick up is Bourbinsane 12. I've had a lot of recommendations on that as a good bourbon crossover Scotch. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'm excited about that. Actually, tomorrow I am putting out another review, and it is going to be a Scotch review. Yeah, so I won't say what it is yet. We'll see. Well, you guys will see tomorrow, but it was definitely different, I'll say, filming this Scotch review than my bourbon reviews I do. It's a completely different flavor profile. Like I said, I've had a few Scotches, but it's different for sure. But I don't want you guys to berate me or, get too upset with me if I'm calling out wrong notes. But I asked a couple questions in the video, and I'm really excited to see if people are gonna think my notes are correct that I'm calling out or not. Again, as you guys know, it's peaty. Yes, it's peaty. I Whiskey She Wines. It is peaty. 40 in the chat. Shout out to you guys. Thank you so much. I think this is probably the highest numbers I've had. So thank you all for coming over. I appreciate it. It is peated. Quite peated. Not as peaty as it could be, but it's quite peated. So it's going to be, it was a lot of fun to film. And I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on what I should do differently if I'm reviewing a Scotch versus a bourbon, things like that. I mean, you'll see tomorrow, so I won't say too much, but Vito, Bourbinsane 12 peaty. Yeah, I mean, that's got slight peat in it, right? Again, I'm no expert on any Scotch at all, but as far as I know, it's slightly sherried and slightly peated. Is that correct? All right, I'm going to move on to sample number 5 here while we're talking, guys. All right, number 5 is from Party World, and this is a small little liquor store. But they get a lot of good whiskey, and they're always state minimum, which is awesome. Awesome. DJ Beacon says very light peat on the Bourbinsane 12. Okay. A wee bit of peat, Eric says. Okay. All right. It is sherried, though, right? Sorry if someone answered that. It is sherried? Because I don't think I've had a sherried Scotch yet. So I'm curious to see the difference in what I'm reviewing tomorrow versus a sherried. So I've heard this is a really good pick. Just from talking to people, I have not actually tried it myself. This sold out in like less than a day. This pick did. So it's we'll see, guys. We'll see. Very sherried, Vito says. Okay, it is very sherried. Okay. Oh, Jason says it is sherry, but not heavily. Okay, that's good. Because I don't want too much sweetness. Hmm. Nothing standing out too much as being overly like different or extraordinary on the nose, at least. It definitely smells. I mean, it smells like a good Buffalo Trace bottle. You know, all the same notes I mentioned before. A little bit of the candied note. Definitely a little bit of fruit in there. Same thing I'd say as number one that had that green apple peel. Not as much of a barrel influence on this. Again, I don't smell the age as much. All right. Okay. Well, the taste doesn't match the nose. As I said, the nose was kind of plain, but the taste is really nice. Really nice. Had a nice like medium to long finish. I mean, it's still there a little bit actually, so it coats the mouth really nice. Mm. Mm. Yeah, that's good. That's quite good. Um, wasn't sure after the nose. I mean, it wasn't blowing me away. But yeah, it's really good on the palate. It leaves my taste buds kind of tingling a little bit, kind of salivating, which it invites more whiskey. So, yeah, that's good. It's more again towards that candied sweetness note, almost like a dried cherry, a dried cherry with a little bit of like candied caramel on it or candied chocolate even on it. So it's a little more chocolatey and creamy on this. I think that's part of the reason why the finish lingers and is a little bit longer. Moose, that red cap bottle is a Weller. That is a liter Weller. That was from about 13, 14 months ago when I was first getting big time into whiskey and I was paying more than I should for things. I'll just say that. So I didn't overpay too much, just more than I'd like to nowadays looking back. So yeah, I've got a couple of the red caps, a couple of the green caps. I was able to find a Weller 107, just a 750 locally, which is crazy, but I had to, a store owner set it aside for me. Luckily, I was talking to her about it, and she set one aside, and that was awesome. So that's what it's all about, guys, is making relationships with store owners, and they really look out for you and help you on your journey, I guess. Yeah, Dan, it is. It was a mild nose with a great taste. And usually they go hand in hand. I mean, typically. Hmm. Vito, thanks so much for coming in. Make sure you guys are here next Wednesday over on Vito's channel, Cast Strength Reviews. It's going to be a great night there, drinking some strong bourbon. We're going to try to bring him over to the bourbon side from the Scotch side. So have a good night, Vito. Whiskey Explorer. Hit me with an email. I'll send you some good Canadian whiskey to try. Okay, awesome. You mentioned, I think you commented on one of my videos. How I think it was the whiskey glass video that I put out. You were talking about the Canadian Glencairn, which is a very interesting glass. But you knew a little bit more about it. It seemed, it's supposed to be a rocks glass, which is kind of what I read. but it can also kind of double as a neat glass because it's got the lip at the top and whatnot. And you said it's kind of because they're trying to mask the flavor of Canadian whiskey because there's not too much good Canadian out there, but D-Psycho, yes. Loving the ELE sweatshirt, yes. Everybody love everybody. That's, I'm on the wrong side here, guys, but everybody love everybody. That's ELE sweatshirt. That's a local thing to Grand Rapids, but it's pretty universal. Does good Canadian whiskey exist? Asked Ryan Follick. Whiskey Explorer? That's a question for you, I guess. I am definitely a noob to the Canadian whiskey. I've heard that, like, I have a bottle of Canadian Club. This is a funny story. So, I have a bottle of Canadian Club, and probably about a year ago at this point, I was like, oh, I was getting really into whiskey. I was like, I wonder how Canadian Club is. I was trying all these bourbons, and they were all so good. I could drink them straight so easily. I get out the Canadian Club. I pour a nice glass of it. I take a sip, and it's just immediately, it's like, oh, like I immediately just went over and spit it out in the sink. I dumped the glass out. I got the bottle out from under the cupboard, and I just dumped it in the sink. That's the first and only time I've ever had a drain pour on a bottle of whiskey. But my point in telling that story was, I've heard that the Canadian Club that's in Canada is actually a lot better than what's in the United States. It's a different juice, apparently, is what I heard. So yeah. Michael Hassett, have you had any good craft Michigan whiskey? Great question. I don't know that I've actually had any craft Michigan whiskey. I actually have a sample back here. If you guys would be interested in me grabbing that and doing that real quick, I could pour another glass and do that. But the sample I have is actually Coppercraft. Coppercraft is a pretty well-known distillery, locally at least. I think they're based in like Grand Haven or Holland, Michigan. But they have a, this is the 12-year, I believe, straight bourbon. And it's, supposedly it's quite good. I mean, a couple stores have done store picks on Coppercraft stuff, so they have a pick program and everything. So yeah, there's a lot of different micro distilleries all throughout Michigan, really throughout the United States. They're kind of going everywhere. They're popping up everywhere. I feel like it's getting more popular. But I have not really had any. I do have plans for the channel though. This was a suggestion in the comments. I can't remember who suggested it, but to either go to the distilleries and do, like some IRL in real life filming there and do that. That'd be really cool. Dan Journeyman, yes, I haven't had it, but it's available everywhere. I mean, that was my other thing I was going to say was I'd like to do a series on just craft Michigan distilleries and pretty much stick to bourbon probably for the most part. I mean, there's a lot of rye expressions as well. The one micro distillery I have had is New Holland Artesian Spirits, and it was their beer barrel aged bourbon. So they actually take their bourbon and they age it for, I think it's 6 months. They age it in former stout barrels because New Holland is a big beer company. So they use, yeah, LOL IRL. Yeah, DHL, I'm sorry, in real life, yes. So they use those stout barrels and they age their bourbon, and it definitely gives a lot creamier flavor profile. I had that bottle when I was first getting into bourbon, so I didn't really know anything about the different flavors or anything, but I think that'd be a really cool series, doing kind of a local homegrown series for all the micro distilleries and the options there. That'd be fun. There's so many things. A lot of Detroit distilleries as well. So, boy, this is a hard choice on all these guys. It's gonna be hard to rank these. I'm gonna bring them all over here. You probably won't be able to see them, but I'll set them in front of me and I'll go from there, and I'll get you a final answer. All right, sample number 1. It's just solid. More sweetness on number 2. That candied sweetness. Creaminess on the nose. Dan, mix them. All right. I might. We'll see after I pick what I want. Richie Z! He made it in after all. He still keeps his 100% streak on making it to every single Whiskey Tuber stream ever in the history of Whiskey Tube. Welcome in. Number 3, Martha's Vineyard. Much more dry on the back of the tongue. More rye influence, I would say, is what it seems. Ooh. Well, this sample number 4 now. Sample number 4 just became caramel covered ice cream. Weird. That is weird. Yeah. Creaminess. Yeah, Martha's is awesome. It's really a staple in Grand Rapids. Yeah, caramel drizzled on top of vanilla ice cream is what that tastes like. Dan, you're right. It must have opened up. That's weird. I poured these about 15 minutes before I started streaming just because I wanted to make sure they did open up a little bit since they were new bottles. That's good. All right. Number 5. Party World. Not much on the nose. Hi, Whiskey She Wines. Have a good night. Thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it. Joe, you too, have a good night. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, number 5 again. Not as much on the nose, but that flavor is really, really good. It's really good on the palate. All right, I gotta write these down. Otherwise, I'm gonna forget what's what. All right. All right. All right. So my order, number 4, that last sip I took, that caramel coated vanilla ice cream. Brian Walsh, you're right. Number 4, that really came through. So Riverside Liquors was my number 1. That came through number 1 for me. That last sip really is what did it. That is good. DJ Beacon said his store, Buffalo Trace store, brings more honey. Okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, they are all a little different. I thought I wouldn't get much difference at all in these, and I was kind of worried about doing them side by side because of that. But they did all have a little bit of a different influence. So, and one of them was completely different in my opinion. So, number 2, I went with Party World, which was sample number 5. And that was another one that, again, great on the palate, but the nose was a little bit lacking. My third choice was sample number 1, and this was the bottle I had open already. So this was Smitty's Specialty Beverage. And guys, I mean, these are all really good. I mean, these are all solid pours on these. Like I said, $25-$30. I mean, really, you can't go wrong. Ryan Follick, Riverside Liquors is in Grand Rapids. It's near my house. It's only within 10 minutes of my house, so it's one of my local shops. And he got like 5 or 6 different store picks this year. Knob Creek, Jefferson's, which I reviewed on the channel. the Buffalo Trace. He's had an Elijah Craig in the beginning of the year. Actually, his store pick was the Elijah Craig that first got me into bourbon. So, and it was probably the best Elijah Craig store pick I've ever had. So, good stuff. My my fourth choice was sample number 2, which was the Martha's Vineyard. I'm sorry, the Rishi's pick. The Rishi's pick, which is going to be the one I'm going on. I'm going to be going, doing a pick for him hopefully down the road soon. And that is going to be really cool. I cannot wait to do that, guys. And I'll be spreading the news of that if I do end up doing that pick for him. And hopefully I can buy multiple bottles and do, several samples and stuff. That'd be awesome. So, and then my least favorite choice was sample number 3. So if you guys have watched me, I'm not as big of a rye note or rye fan. And that's what this was a huge rye, more rye influence compared to the others. I mean, it still wasn't massively rye, but compared to the other Buffalo Trace products, it was definitely more of a rye influence. So I think that's why I tended to put it last. They're all solid though, guys. You can't go wrong with really any of these. Ryan, it's on, it's more towards like Rockford area. I know you're probably more local, Rockford, Michigan. That's more where it is. So, all right, guys, it's getting kind of late here. It's 10:03. So, let's go into our samples here. So, the first question I'm going to ask is, I just talked about the new glassware I got. So, who did I say made these glasses for me? What's the name of the company who made these glasses for me? And again, you'll be able to pick whichever sample you'd like on this. All right, while those are coming in, I'm going to go ahead and mix all these together. Dan said to mix it all together, so. Eric got it. Gifts on glass. That's correct. Eric Waite got it. Eric, we're bringing you to the bourbon side. It's official now. It's bourbon month. Eric got his sign from God that's he's supposed to get more bourbon in his life. So Eric got it. And here's your new pour, ladies and gentlemen. Woo-wee! Look at that. That's quite a pour. Captain Make It Happen. Captain Make It Happen will always just put these random things in the chat that just get me every time. Like, Payday theme song voice, and then he'll say something, and it's like, it just gets me every time. Eric's another one who gets me every time. I read something he says. It's just, I'm picturing Eric saying it for what he's saying in chat, and it's just awesome. Jason, yeah, Gifts on Glass did yours, and yours came out awesome. Jason, yeah. Jason, I assume yours are probably going to be for sale at some point. I'll definitely want to get one of those at least from you. Those turned out awesome. All right, let's try the blend. It kind of just tastes like Buffalo Trace small batch. That makes sense, right? Eric, I'll reach out to you after the stream. We'll talk samples. Again, guys, anyone who got stuck at my other stream that was not working, please do send me an email. I'll put my my email. Actually, it's just bourbinsane@gmail.com. So any of you who had that issue and were stuck there, please do reach out to me. I'll definitely take care of you. Okay. Eric, you mentioned that earlier, yes, and I meant to come back to that. So I would love to get a challenge coin. I've been writing on a couple of people's pages wondering where they got them, but I haven't got a response. Let me know, I guess, who you use or who you'd recommend, because I think it would look great. I'm with you, and I actually was looking into that. I am, obviously my channel's still new, guys. I'm still growing and learning the whole YouTube thing, but I am going to be starting a Patreon page pretty soon here. If anyone would be interested in that, obviously it's nothing required. It's just going to be an extra thing for me to kind of put out extra content for you guys. I'm gonna be making some. I actually just made some T-shirts as well. It's just on teespring.com. But if that's something you guys would be interested in, definitely check it out. I'm gonna put the link in the description here. But yeah, Eric, we'll talk. We got a lot of stuff to talk about now. I got notes here I'm taking for Eric. So, all right, back to this blend. Does it taste like thieving Vica? DJ Beacon asked. I did not get to try that. I wish. Sounds like it was delicious though, based on Jason's stream. Yeah, this just tastes like. Oh, that was a spill. I don't know if anyone saw that. It just tastes like tastes like a good bourbon. I mean, it's just a good Buffalo Trace product is what it tastes like. So, all right, let's think of a second question here, guys. Let me think of one a second. Okay, I mentioned this might be a tough one, but I mentioned which of these store picks had an Elijah Craig barrel proof pick that first got me into bourbon. Let me know which one that was. So here are your options: Rishi's, Martha's Vineyard, Riverside Liquors, Smitty's Specialty Beverage, or Party World. Those are your 5 options. Which one had an Elijah Craig pick that first got me into bourbon? It was a really good Elijah Craig pick. Dan got it, Riverside. Dan's correct. Dan the Man Trout. Dan got it. And a lot of another Dan got it. Christina got it. Riverside is the right answer, but Dan Trout came in first. Dan, obviously I know your bourbon collection, but anything you want, you let me know. I'll see what I can do for you. So I just saw Eric's comment. Sue said, wait, Eric, wait, LOL. I had to look. You should also sell calendars. Each month you wear a different robe with a different whiskey. I'll tell you what, I mean, that was the most fun episode to film. It was just all in good fun. I mean, it was a great time, though. DH Silva off to bed. Have a good night. Thank you so much for coming in. A great time. We're signing off soon here, so I loved filming that episode, Eric. It was so fun. Just try to keep it light and keep it fun. It was a good time. So yeah, that's a great idea. The calendar idea, I like it. Oh hell, the robe returns. DJ Beacon says, yeah, we'll see. Dan noted. I got it. This has been her week or her month, so I'll write that down. Christina, reach out to me again, bourbinsane@gmail.com, and I'll take care of you. All right, guys, we should probably think about wrapping up here. We've hit the hour mark. This was a great time. Man, Buffalo Trace is good stuff. I really enjoyed it. 5 different picks. I mean, all a little unique. Blended together gives you the quality product you can see on your shelves every day. At least I've heard. I mean, now rumor has it they're starting to get more hard to find. But yeah, it was good. Good stuff. All, you know, like I said, all a little bit different, but overall, just a solid pour. So thank you all so much for coming in. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. All us whiskey tubers, we're doing a lot of stuff every week. So we all, you know, we're all trying to live stream for you. We're putting out videos the best we can. And if you like what you're doing, please do support the channels, guys. Like and subscribe. Any comment you put in the videos really does help us out. So thank you so much for coming in. Again, anyone who had issues with the stream, please do reach out to me, bourbinsane@gmail.com. I'll make sure you're taken care of. Thank you all so much, guys. Have a great night. Stay insane, guys. Cheers.